Welcome back. A federal judge on Friday issued a ruling that for the moment halts the Trump administration efforts to dismantle the largest and oldest international broadcaster in the U.S., Voice of America, more commonly known as VOA. President Trump issued an executive order earlier this month slashing funding after accusing the news service of having a, quote, leftist bias, unquote. The president has also repeatedly called for the defunding of NPR and PBS.
They spend more money than any other network of its type ever conceived. So the kind of money that's being wasted, and it's a very biased view. I'd be honored to see it end.
The day after the president said that, the heads of both NPR and PBS defended their programming while testifying on Capitol Hill. David Bauder joins me now. He is the Associated Press's national media writer. David, it's always great to see you. Let me do something on your behalf and mine, because there is an elephant in the room of this conversation you and I are both to have. That elephant is my news organization and yours is involved in litigation with this administration. Lawyers are handling that, and neither you nor I will speak to how the lawyers are handling that. Now that that's settled, let's move on.
Thank you.
Talk to my audience about PBS and NPR. What do they get from the federal government in terms of taxpayer funds, and what is their national reach?
They get about $535 million from the Corporation from Public Broadcasting a year. And their national reach is there's about over 300 stations that PBS has and quite a large number that NPR has as well across the country. So it's got a very large reach.
And David, I know it's impossible to give a definitive answer to this, but could either survive without this taxpayer money?
That's a question they don't really want to answer. I don't think. It probably would be easier for NPR, but I think it would be a lot harder for PBS, particularly with some of their smaller stations across the country.
And David, you and I are familiar with efforts within the Republican Party for many years to try to defund PBS and NPR. This one appears as serious, if not more serious, than any ones that came before it.
I think that's precisely right. I mean, I think what has saved them over the years, because some of the complaints that many of the Republican legislators are making are similar to ones that they've made for many years about a liberal bias, they believe, in some of the news coverage that they have. But what saves them all the time is the fact that most of these legislators have PBS or NPR stations in their districts, and they don't want to see them get hurt. And ultimately, at the end of the day, it winds up getting saved. But the atmosphere is much different right now, as you know. So it's a bit more of a mystery as to what's going to happen.
Voice of America has not been in this barrel before that I recall, David.
I can't either. I mean, it's a very serious barrel that they're in right now. They've taken very strong steps. And the president has a very strong view about what he wants Voice of America to be, and his people are following his orders quite carefully.
Republican member of Congress Young Kim was on 60 Minutes last night and talked about the implications from her point of view of defunding Voice of America. Let's listen.
When we are in an information war, and we stop broadcasting into those repressive governments and into repressive societies, they're not gonna hear the truth. Why are we ceding our soft power that helps us to stay as a free world leader? We're just playing right into Xi Jinping's hands.
David, evaluate that, because that's one of the reasons that VOA has always existed.
I saw that report, and I think what's interesting here is a lot of Americans don't really know what VOA is and what it does because they don't hear it. So it's new to a lot of people. And when the president comes out and says that it's saying bias in what it says, they don't necessarily know the charter of VOA. They don't necessarily know what it has been doing historically. And a lot of people really think, well, why aren't they telling the story of what's good about America instead of telling a non-biased news perspective of things? So they have a battle in their hands in terms of public relations and trying to get people to understand what's going on and the importance of this.
And yet VOA journalists have been all over the world for decades.
I know. But again, a lot of people don't really understand that and what has been happening because VOA is not heard in the United States.
David Bauder, it's always a pleasure. Thank you, sir.
Good to talk to you, Major. Thank you.